Hello, welcome to another video of Code Snippet, and in this video we are going to look into frequently asked coding interview questions on Java Streams. Now here we are going to get started with very basic questions on Java Streams which interviewer may ask to check your basic knowledge on Java Streams and to get started inside your interview process. Well, in the subsequent videos we will see intermediate and hard questions as well. Now let's get started without wasting any time. This is going to be a fun video, so sit back, relax and enjoy the show. Alright, so let's get started with the agenda of this particular video. So Java Stream coding interview questions, and the level is super easy. So in this video we will see super easy stuff. We will try to understand basic, and in the subsequent videos we will increase this particular level of questions and we will see easy, intermediate and hard level questions as well. So let's get started with the easy one. And here in this video I'm not just going to show you the code, rather than we will try to understand each and every concept that comes inside each question. So let's get started with the first one. How do you create streams inside Java? Now this one is pretty basic question, right? If you know streams, you should know different ways of creating streams inside Java. And for kickstarting the interview, I can just go ahead and casually ask these questions just to check if you know different ways of creating streams inside Java, right? So what we will do, let's jump into the code directly. So what I will do, I'll just go ahead and bring my IntelliJ over here. Let me just maximize it. Now if you see, I have this class over here which says public class create streams, right? Simple class basically. What I will do, I'll just go ahead and add a main method over here so that we can write some code over here. Now there are multiple ways of creating streams inside Java, right? Now let's say you have a list of names, right? So I will just create a list of names over here. So I'll just say arrays.asList and I will just add few elements over here. Let's say Alice and Bob, right? So this is basically the list of string, and this is going to be an array list basically, isn't it? Because arrays.asList will return us array list, right? What we will do, let me just go back over here, and if you see over here, now we have a list. Now this list I want to convert to a stream. So first thing we can do is list to stream, right? List or array list to a stream. Now how we can do that? We can just say names dot stream, right? The moment I do that, it will create a stream for me, and if I go ahead and catch it inside a variable, then it will just return me the object of stream, right? So this is basically a stream. So we have successfully created a stream from a list, and this is one way basically. So that is one way we are converting a list to a stream. Now let's proceed and let's see what if I have this. So I have this particular string. So this is an array of string. Now this is not a list, right? This is not a list. What is this? This is the array. Now how we can convert this array to a stream? So this array to stream conversion we are looking into now. So if you have any array provided, then what you can do, you can just say arrays dot stream and pass your array over here, and you can just introduce a local variable and it will just give the stream, right? So that is basically how you can convert your array to a stream. So this is basically a second approach by using which you can convert an array to a stream. First we converted a list to a stream, after that we have converted an array to a stream, right? After that, let's proceed. I just want to create an array from, let's say, 1 to 3. So what I can do, I can just say stream and just say stream dot off. So stream will have an off method, and I can just pass an element, let's say 1 comma 2 comma 3. So I will just pass the values over here, right? And I will just collect it into a variable, and if you see over here, we have successfully created a stream of integer now in this case. So third way basically by using stream off. So third way, by using stream off, you can create stream inside Java, right? After that, you can also make use of stream.generate method, right? And here you can pass any supplier. Supplier means it is kind of a method. Now let's say I just want to create a stream of random number. So I will just give math.random over here, math.random, and it will create the random string. But it will just go on and it will just keep creating a lot of things for us. So what I will do, so to limit that, what we will do, we'll just give a limit of, let's say, 5. And now what I will do, I'll just collect it into a variable, and there we go. If you see over here, a stream of double is created for, because math.random will return us nothing but a double. That's why it is returning a stream of double. So that is basically another way by using stream generate method. So these are basically the 4 approaches by using which you can easily go ahead and create streams inside Java, right? So here we are just getting started and looking into how we can create stream inside Java, right? So if interviewer is asking you this, you can just go ahead and give these particular approaches to interviewer, right? He'll be happy. Now that is basically our first simple question. After that, I have already created a video on Java streams where I have explained what exactly is Java stream and how it works. And if you have seen that video, you will just remember this particular diagram. Now just in order to reiterate, you will have this inputs, arrays, collections, you will convert it to a stream just now as we did. After that, you will have a pipeline of stream, right? In that you will have intermediate operations, you will have terminal operations, you will have flat, map, reduce. All these operations we have seen and I have explained it in detail, right? If you haven't looked into that video yet, I will recommend you go ahead and check it out. After that, it will be very easy for you to understand this particular video and all these questions. After that, next question that we have is filter even numbers from a list. Now let's say here you have this particular list, right? So we have list of integer, we are just making use of arrays.asList, and here we have these 10 elements. And what we want to do, we want to filter even numbers. That means we want to remove odd elements from this list and just keep even elements. So first thing what we need to do over here, we just need to convert this list into a stream. So how we did that? We did that by using stream, right? And what it will do give us, it will just give us a object of stream, right? So we have this particular stream now. Now, next thing what we want to remove elements from this particular list based on certain condition. Now, whenever we want to filter or remove anything from your stream, what we do, we make use of something called as a filter. Now, filter is a function which will help us to filter elements based on a condition. Now, how I can do that? I can just say stream and I will just say filter, stream.filter. Now, filter will take one argument, right? What argument it takes? It takes a predicate. Now, what is predicate? Predicate is a functional interface which will have this one abstract method which is test, and it will test the predicate on each element. Now, if I go back over here, now what we want to give that predicate over here. How do we give that? Let's say for each number n inside this particular stream, what I want to do, now I will give conditions. Now I will say n mod 2 is equals to 0. Now, if this condition is satisfied for the respective element inside the stream, then let it pass, otherwise block it. Now let's try to visualize it. Let's say you have this list over here where you have elements 1 to 10, right? Now what we did, we converted this list to a stream. So this list is now converted to a stream, right? Now this is a stream. Now what we are doing on this stream, we are trying to apply a filter function, right? Now we have applied this filter function. Now this is our stream pipeline. So on this stream, we are trying to apply this filter function. Now this filter function have one predicate, right? Which is basically a function which is trying to test a condition. What is the condition? Our number mod 2 should be equals to 0. Our number mod 2 should be equals to 0. Now what this filter will do, it will take one number from stream, let's say 1. It will apply this condition on that number. It will apply this particular predicate on this particular number. And if that condition is satisfied, then it will let that element pass. So it will let that element pass, otherwise it will just block it. Then 2 will come. For 2, this particular condition will be satisfied, so it will let it go. So your 1, 3, 5, 7 and 9 will be blocked over here. Your filter will just block it and it will just let other people like 2, 4, 6, 8 and 10 go, and it will just pass through this filter because they satisfies this particular predicate, right? So that is basically how it simply works. So now when I say stream.filter, it will just apply this condition on each element inside the stream like we saw over here, and it will block the elements which are not satisfying this condition and let other elements go through, right? Simple stuff, isn't it? Now here if you see, this is an intermediate operation, right? So in a stream pipeline, intermediate operation will not take effect until you apply a terminal operation on that, right? So we need to apply a terminal operation. So let's say these numbers are being passed, and now what we want to apply a terminal operation. Let's say over here we will have a terminal operation, and there are different type of terminal operations over here. So what we will do, what we want to collect this particular result, let's say 2, 4, 6 and 10 into a list. So in order to do that, what we have collectors. So we have collect function, right? So we have collect function to collect the result of this guy, right? To collect the result of this particular stream. We can just say collect, And here what I want to collect it inside a list. So I will just say collector. So there will be a different collectors now. So you will have collectors.toSet, you will have collectors of toList. So you will have collectors.toList. So I want to collect it inside a list, right? And what I will do, I'll just close this now. That means this is basically my terminal operation now. And now if I collect it into a variable, it will just give me a list of result. And now if I go ahead and let's say print that particular list, if I go ahead and print that list and let's try to run this code, let's see what happens. So if you see over here, this particular result is basically collected over here in this particular list, right? Isn't it? Simple stuff. So what we are doing, we are first converting this list to a stream. After that, we are applying this filter method with this particular predicate, or you can say a condition, which is a Boolean condition basically, which will return us the Boolean output basically. If the element is satisfying this condition, it will let it pass, otherwise it will just block it. And once we apply the terminal operation, it will trigger this pipeline and it will give us this particular result. And in order to collect it, we are making use of collect function, collectors.list, in order to collect this particular list into a variable, and we are printing it, right? So it is a simple stuff that we are doing. Now here if you see, we are doing numbers.stream, getting it into a object of stream, then doing stream.filter. So instead of doing all this, what we can do, we can just go ahead, copy this and make use of it over here, and we don't really need this particular line because that is basically unnecessary object, isn't it? So we can just say numbers.stream, we can apply filter on it, we can apply collect on it, and it will just return us this particular result, isn't it? Simple stuff. Now if we run this, it will again give us the similar output, right? Now interviewer will ask you this question in order to check if you have knowledge on filters, right? Pretty simple stuff. To get started, this particular question will be asked, and they may continue asking more and more complex questions and build on this particular question, right? So this is pretty basic stuff. So let's go back now, and we have seen filter even numbers from the list. And here we have learned couple of main method, which are filter and collect, right? So filter we have learned, and we have learned collect as well. Filter is the intermediate operation, collect is a terminal operation on a stream. Now let's proceed and let's see the next one. Now the next one is convert numbers in a list to their squares. Now here if you see, we have this list again, right? We have this list of integers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And here what are we expecting? We are expecting output like 1, 4, 9, 16 and 25, right? Which are square of each number. So 1, 4, 9, 16 and 25. That is something we are expecting over here. Now here what we want, we don't want to filter any data. The number of elements are going to be same. That is why filter will not actually come into picture over here in this question, right? What we want to do, we want to change this data. So 1 we have 1, 2 we have 4, so the data is being changed. 3 we have 9, so the data is again being changed. So we want to transform one form of data into another form of data, or we want to map one form of data into another form of data. So we have 2, we want to perform certain operation and map it to some other value, right? So we are transforming the value, we are mapping this value to other value. So in this case, something called as map comes into picture. So what I will do, I'll just say numbers.stream. So first we will convert this numbers to a stream. After that we will just say map. Now map is a function. Now if I go inside it, it will take a function. Now it will have apply method. That means whatever function we are going to give inside this particular bracket will be applied on each element in the stream, right? So it will again be a similar stuff. So if I go to canvas again, and let me just duplicate this entire pipeline, and this time what we will do, here we don't have filter, rather than we have map. And here what we are going to do, we are just going to perform the product of each element with itself, right? Now this guy is not filtering, so there is no problem of rejecting any element. So what it will do, it will just get one element, let's say 1, it will just do 1 into 1, it will give output as 1. After that it will keep on going over here, and until all the elements are completed, it will just keep on going, isn't it? And if we go back now, what we need to do over here now, for each element, right, for each element n inside this particular stream, what we want to do, we want to do n into n. That means we want to multiply it, isn't it? And at the end we will do again same stuff. We will say collect collectors.toList, which will just return us the list, and I will just collect it into object result, and let's try to print it now. So I'll just say s out, and let's try to print this particular result. Now if I run this code, let's see what happens. Now if you see, we are getting the respective output and it is just working fine, isn't it? So that is another method for us, which is map over here. So we have seen filter, right, which is filtering stuff, and we have seen map, which is mapping stuff. So again, interviewer can ask this question in order to check your knowledge on map functions. Pretty simple stuff, isn't it? Now let's proceed and let's move to the next one. So in this one, we have seen map method, right? After that, what is the next one? Next one is square even numbers from the list. So let's say you have this particular list, right? List of numbers. And now we want to only square the even numbers. So 2 and 4 and maybe let's say 6, right? So we just want to square the even numbers. Now here we have seen how to print the even numbers, and here we have seen how to square the numbers, right? Now this one is just collaboration of both of them. Now if you try to visualize, we want to remove few elements first, right? Odd numbers basically we want to remove. After that, the remaining elements 2, 4 and 6, we want to square them. That means if you see over here, as we have seen, we want to do this plus this, right? Now how we can combine both of them, let's see. Let me just duplicate this stream again and let's try to see what we can do now. And let me just pull it a bit away. Let me delete this guy. And let's try to add another operation over here, which is going to be this particular filter for us. So now instead of having just one intermediate operation, we have two intermediate operations in the pipeline, isn't it? So first we are filtering even numbers. After that we are squaring them. So we will get the respective output. So let's try to implement it. So what we will do, we'll just say numbers.stream again. After that, what we want to do, we want to filter them for each element n inside this particular list. For each element n inside this particular list, I want to filter out odd numbers and allow only even numbers to pass. This condition will help me. After that, I will just say dot map over here. In this particular map, what we will do, we will just say for each element n inside this particular stream, what I want to do, I want to do n into n. After that, I will just go ahead and collect it into a list, let's say. So we'll just collect it into a list. Let me just have a variable for that saying result. So we have combined first and second, we have combined filter and map over here. And at the end, what I will do, I'll just say s out, and what I will do, I'll just say result. So now if I run this code, you will see arithmetic exception. So what we did over here, divide by 0, it should be 2, right? We want to check mod by 2, not 0. Silly mistake basically. Now what I will do, I'll just go ahead and run it again. Now you will see that we are getting the respective output, the square of even numbers only. Now again, one more thing I would like to highlight over here is, if you are making use of recent versions of Java, then you can just make use of toList method over here and it will do the same job for you instead of adding collectors, right? So they have introduced this new method. So this also you can do in the recent version of Java, isn't it? So that is basically how you can club two operations, filter and map, inside your stream and answer this question, isn't it? So simple stuff. Now let's move back over here. So we have seen the fourth one as well. Now the next one is find the first number greater than 10 from the list. Now let's say we have this particular list over here again, and we have this particular elements inside this particular list, right? Now we want to find the first element which is greater than 10 over here in this particular list. So now if you see what I want to do, I want to find numbers greater than 10. That means I don't need numbers which are less than 10 over here. So what I want to do, I want to remove those elements. So when it comes to remove, you know what we need? We need a filter. So what I will do, I'll just say numbers.stream, and here what I will do, I'll just say filter over here. Now when it comes to a condition, now what I will do for each number n, what I want to only allow numbers which are greater than 10. Based on this condition, it will just allow numbers which are greater than 10 and remove other elements. Now if I say toList over here, it will just return us the things and we will be able to print it. I'll just say result over here, and now if I say s out and try to print this result, and let's see what happens. If you see, we are getting 12 and 20, right? Now we are getting that, but what we want to do, we want to find the first number which is greater than 10 now here. Now in that case, let's not collect it into a list. In that case, what we'll do, we can make use of something called as find first. So there is another terminal operation which is find first, which will just return the first element from your result. So this will just give you this result, right? This will give you this 12 and 20. So this will be a stream 12 and 20. Now it will just see that, okay, there is this output. What this guy will do, it will just return the first one. Now if I just collect it into a variable, it will just give me the first. And now if I try to print this first, you will get the first element. So there we go. This is basically the output. Now find first will return you the object of optional, right? So optional classes is again different concept. In order to get the value, you just need to call get method on optional, and it will just give you the respective output, isn't it? Now a little enhancement on this particular problem. Now let's say we have this 11 over here, right? And now if I try to run this code, then here if you see, we are still getting 12 over here. But ideally we should have 11 as output. What do we exactly need is, we just need to sort this particular output, right? So we can just make use of sorted method and sort this particular output first. So here we will have something like this, isn't it? Here what we will have it in a sorted manner. And after sorting, by using this result, it will just return us this particular 11. Now if I try to run this code, we are getting the respective output, isn't it? Now let's go back over here. Now we have seen this one as well. So count how many numbers are greater than 5 in the given list. So we have this particular list, let's say arrays.as list. Now there are many elements which are greater than 5 over here. So we want to count them, right? Again, what we want to do, we first want to filter elements which are greater than 5. So we want to remove the elements which are less than 5. Again, if we want to shorten this particular list, that means we want to filter few elements. So again, we know we need to make use of filters basically over here. So I'll just say numbers.stream.filter over here, and inside this filter now I will add a condition saying for each element what I want n, and n should be greater than 5. Only after that let it pass. Now we will have this stream, we will have 6, 8 and 10 over here. Now what we want to do, we want to count them. What do we have? We have a count method. Simple stuff, isn't it? Now what this guy will return us? This guy will return us a long value, and we can just go ahead and print it over here. Just say count. Now if we run this code, we should get 3 as output because we have 3 elements which are greater than 5 over here. So we have learned another function over here, which is a count function. Again, a terminal operation which will just count the size returned by this guy, this intermediate operation, and it will just return that. Simple stuff, isn't it? So count greater than we have seen. Sum or product, right? So here if you see, let's say we have this particular list again, and what we want to do, we want to make the sum of these guys, right? Now we don't really want to filter anything, or we don't really want to map anything as well. We don't want to transform this object. Rather than what I want to do, I want to perform operation on all of them and get a single value. That means I want to kind of reduce these 5 elements to single elements by using some kind of operation. That is when reduce comes into picture. I want to reduce these elements, and I want to perform some operation to reduce these elements to a single element. Now if you remember, in the last video we have seen how reduce works, right? So if you see over here, we have this reduce operation, isn't it? So now we have this initial value, and these are the elements inside our stream. So we have 1, we have 2, we have 3. Now let's say we have these swim lanes 1, 2, 3, right? These are swim lanes, and reduce will cut through this swim lanes, right? What it will do, it will, so let's say we give 0 as initial value. So it will take that 0 and it will perform our operation. Let's say I want to sum it. So it will just say 0 plus our element, which is 1, and it will give the output as 1. Now it will proceed. Now the initial value will be 1 for it, and what it will do, it will sum it with this particular guy. So 1 plus 2 will be 3, and it will keep on going like that. And let's look into the syntax. Now here, first thing should be your initial value, or we call it as an identity value. After that, we have an operation. a binary operation. So now as it is accepting two elements 0 and 1, what we'll do, we'll just give two variables over here, let's say a and b. So for these two a and b, what I want to do with them, for this a and b, what I want to do, I want to plus them, right? So I will just say a plus b. So this is a identity and this is basically your accumulator. So it starts with 0. So this 0 is basically this 0. After that, for each elements, which is basically a and b, what I want to do, I want to do sum. After that, the value of a will be 1, b will be 2, it will do this sum. After that, the value of a will be 3, b will be 3, and it will come to 6. So that is how it works. And now reduce inside stream is a terminal operation. So it will directly give you the sum. It will directly give you the output. And what I will do, I'll just try to print it and I will just say sum over here. And let me just try to run it. Let's see what happens. There we go. So we are getting this particular output. I believe the sum of this is 15, right? So working just fine basically. And now if you want to multiply them or find the product instead of sum, what you can do, just convert this plus to star. And initial value you need to give 1 now, because 0 multiplied by anything will be 0 and you will get 0 value at the end. So now if I run this code, you will see we are getting this respective output. So that is how you can just easily convert this sum to product, right? Simple stuff basically. Main highlight over here is your reduce method, and that is how it works. So it will reduce all of your input 1, 2, 3, 4 and many inputs to one value at the end and return that. And that is how it works basically. We have seen this one as well. Now what do we have over here? Next we have find sum of even numbers in the list. So now we want to sum even numbers only. So I know you are thinking in a right direction now. What we need to do, we need to filter first, because we want to filter odd numbers. We want to remove odd numbers over here. We'll just say number.streams. We will say filter. First we will say filter. For each element n inside this particular list, I want to filter odd elements. So I'll just say n mod 2 equals to 0, which will give me even numbers. And now I will do reduce, right? So I will start from 0. For elements a and b inside this particular reduce function, I'll say a comma b. I will say a plus b. I will just collect it into a variable saying, let's say sum, or let's say even sum. And let's try to print it. Let me run this code. Now if you see over here, we are getting the respective output. And if you see over here, we have 2 plus 4, which is 6, right? So now here we are making use of filter plus reduce, right? Filter plus reduce. So two operations that we have already seen, we are just combining it inside this particular question, isn't it? Simple stuff again. Now here if you see, we have this list of integer, and what we want to do, we just want to find the maximum of this, right? So let's see how we can do that by using stream. So let's first convert it to a stream. Now what we can do, we can just reduce it, right? Reduce it and pass number function. So here again we will start from 0, and what we will do, we will just say for each number a and b, what I want the maximum of a and b, right? Now how we can find maximum, we can just say integer dot max, and we can just give a comma b, which will return us the maximum number, isn't it? And that's it. Let's just try to collect it into a variable saying, let's say max, and let's try to print max over here. So let's say s out max, and let's try to run it. There we go. We are getting the respective output. And if you are aware of method reference, you can just go ahead and convert this guy to method reference, and it will again work in the same way. And here if you see, max function does not really need an initial value, because max of a and b is going to be a output of these two only, one of the output basically, either a or b. It will not really need an identity function. So what we will do, we can just remove that, and it will just return optional integer max. And now if I run this code, then you will see that we are getting optional of 20, and that is basically a correct output. In order to get the value, you can just again make use of get method, and you will get the respective output. So that's how you can make use of reduce method with this particular integer.math in order to get the maximum number from this particular list. Simple stuff, right? After that, at the end, we will see sum of square of even numbers in the list. So now here if you see, we have this particular list. So first what we want even numbers, then we want square of them, then we want sum of them, right? So here what we want to filter them as well, we want to square them, that means map them as well, and we want the sum, that means we want to reduce them as well, right? So we need a combination of all of this. So we are going to need the combination of all of this. So what I'll do, I'll just duplicate this. Let's see how it is going to work now. Now we are not going to make use of any terminal operation or this terminal operation over here. Rather what we will do, we will just make use of reduce as terminal operation, which will reduce this particular output provided by this guy and give us a sum. So first we will filter, after that we will square them, after that we will just make use of reduce to sum them, right? Simple stuff. So this is how our pipeline is going to look in this particular question. So what we will do, let's quickly implement it. So I'll just say numbers dot stream. After that we have filter over here, each element n inside this particular list. What I want to do, I want to filter them. So I'll just say n mod 2 equals to 0. That will only give us the even numbers. That what I will do, I'll just say map. For each element inside the remaining list, I want to square them by using n into n. After that, what I want to do, I want to reduce them starting with 0. What I want to do, for each element a comma b, what I want to do, I want to make the sum of them. So I'll just say a plus b, and I will just collect it into a variable saying sum, and let's try to print it. So I'll just say s out, and let's try to print this sum. Now if I run this code, we will get the respective output basically. And here as well, you can just replace this with method reference. So integer.sum method you can use. Again, you can remove this identity and accept it in an optional format over here. Similar stuff that we did. It will just return you optional one. You can just say reduce.get over here, and it will give you the similar output basically. So this is basically other way of putting it. So that is how you can solve this particular problem, and here we are making use of 3 different methods to solve this problem. 2 intermediate operations and 1 terminal operation basically, and that is basically the last question that we had. So these are very basic questions, super easy questions. Level is super easy over here that we have seen in this particular video. In the subsequent videos we will see easy, intermediate and hard questions as well. Now if you want me to cover any of the questions in upcoming videos, feel free to comment them in comment section. If you have better solutions, feel free to comment them so that it is visible to others as well, and they will be benefited from that one. If you like the video, hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe to Code Snippet. Your little effort of subscribing will give me more and more enthusiasm to create more and more such videos. Share this video with your friends so that they also have idea about JavaStream coding interview questions. That's it for this video. See you in the next video.